information that exposes the fact that Google and Oracle and others are deeply into the secret America. In fact, the term was the secret America. That was the term that they censored dealing with the Washington Post article. And here are some articles on it today. Here's one out of the Seattle Times. Top secret America, snoops in our suburbs. And it shows how all over the country they're building giant spy bases against the American people. And there's a bunch of other mainstream news articles that are dealing with that today, and we'll be covering some of that coming up after I take your phone calls. But false flag cyber attack could take down the internet. The Pentagon is telling us there's going to be a massive attack. They're going to have to shut the web off and change our access. And last Thursday, 73,000 blogs were taken down because one blog they claim was being used by Al-Qaeda. The feds have now, 5 days later, told us their reason, and that's in the news today. Kurt Nimmo wrote a story about it last night, linking to Reuters and others, where they say, oh, well, there was one blog on this website that Al-Qaeda was using. So we didn't call the website and say, you know, please take that down, or we didn't take them to court, or we didn't show evidence. No, we just took a giant website with 73,000 blogs down. And so they will attack the internet. The mainstream media is dying. The government support with the people is dying. All the polls and numbers show that. The media, the dinosaur media, even admits they're in free fall and government's in free fall. And so the dinosaur media owned by the big global robber-baron corporations that aren't free market, that are criminal, that make their money through looting and power and surveillance and espionage. I've been telling you, it's a global corporate takeover. Now you learn that there are hundreds of times more security clearances at the highest level for private corporate chiefs, 850,000+, than there are in the government. The government is now, I mean, here in Austin, foreign banks come in, and the city council gets bought off, and they pass $2.6 billion in energy increase taxes that are more than all the other taxes combined each year. And that now they're announcing they're going to seize all the major roads and put toll roads on it, and almost all the money is going to go to offshore corporations like Centra of Spain. That's exactly what happened 150+ years ago in China when 11 Western powers, France, the United States, England, the Netherlands, Germany, even Poland had an outpost, went in and divided up China and took it over. And it took them decades of corporate espionage to buy off local cities and regions, and they did it. And the Boxer Rebellion and other rebellions led to China finally getting its sovereignty back, but then it was still weak, so Japan came in decades later. Same with Korea. Eastern Russia was weak, so the Japanese invaded as well before World War II. So this is happening now. We were a free society. We were wide open. And corporations running intelligence operations, and the first intelligence agencies were not government. In the more modern era of the last 300 years in Europe, the Rothschilds and others on record had intelligence agencies bigger than British intelligence. And British intelligence itself, this is in mainline history, was modeled after the Rothschild intelligence networks. And so we have been conquered, and the banks are bankrupting us to bring us down to the level of third world serfs. And they don't want the people to be able to speak out and expose their banking takeover. That's why they erased the Obama deception, but the backlash caused them to put it back up, an unprecedented move. That's why they're moving and openly announcing they're going to start curtailing the web, because we are countering them, and they can't have us out there telling the truth during this process. And so today, this is the last time I'm going to do this, at least for a few weeks. I want to see the aftermath of it and gauge it. I want to analyze the data. It's very interesting. But it does show we're even more effective than we had previously gauged, which is a chilling prospect. Why me, God? Why? Why am I sitting in the middle of this platform that's so powerful? It's a chilling, adrenaline-fueled burden. When I consciously face the position we're in and the responsibility we have, I have an adrenaline rush. But today we're going to make this term number one, false flag cyber attack. False flag cyber attack, so that hundreds of other blogs and newspapers will then pick up on the story, as the last four term blitzes have done. And so we'll put it out there even more on record. But we know a false flag cyber attack is coming, to be blamed on foreign enemies or domestic hackers as a pretext to further curtail the web and bring it a step further on its journey towards being a instrument of control, not an instrument of enlightenment. So the search term today, folks, if you choose to accept this mission, is false flag cyber attack.
Everybody rolls with their...
Okay, my friends, we're going to go straight to your phone calls, and then coming up, household cleaning products linked to breast cancer in a major long-term study. But it's also linked to ADHD, increases in cancer. That's because mainline household cleaning products are the derivatives of the oil industry and gasoline refining. They also spray it on the crops, and they know full well what they're doing. That's why 30 years ago, in a cancer ward, doctors would come from hundreds of miles around to see someone below the age of 10 who had cancer, and now there's children with cancer all over your neighborhood. You are being murdered. The question is, will you have the strength to research this? Well, we'll talk about that later. Let's talk to JP in Minnesota. JP, you're on the air. Welcome.
Alex, my brother in freedom and my sensei in the InfoWar. Thank you for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
Alex, I had a few questions for you and a few points I wanted to share with you. I was all caught up on listening to your show last week. On Saturday, I had to drive into work, so I downloaded one of your older shows. I went searching through 2008, and I downloaded this episode where you interviewed Nick Begich. And it was an awesome, awesome show. Probably 5 minutes into the show, you were talking about the internet and some news story at the time, and you were telling us that, you predicted flat out. You said in 2.5 years, mid-2010, internet's dead, big attack, the globalists' own words, their own documents. So I thought that was just amazing to hear you back in 2008. You really laid it out what's going on right now.
Well, I believe I was, I don't remember the show 2 years ago. That would be 2 years ago now. If it was mid-2008. I do remember interviewing Begich then, because his brother was running for the Senate and then won. But Begich, of course, a scientist, for those that just joined us, was on talking about a host of issues. But at that time, I was covering a British Ministry of Defense report where they were basically laying out what they were going to do, the global collapse, how they would use that to start the transfer of the web from free to unfree in 2010 into 2012. Nothing to do with the Mayan calendar. That's the government itself is saying they want to have this global system in by 2012. And there's mirrored documents in Defense Department statements, and also Internet 2, this private consortium, this corporate consortium that's spearheading the takeover of the web by these interests. So it's not really so much the end of the web, it's the end of the web as we know it, the end of the free web. But yes, I don't deserve any credit for that. I'm just going off their own documents.
Well, I know. It was just amazing to hear you lay it out, 2 years ago. You hit the nail on the head. But I want you to know I've been a long-time listener, a long-time activist fighting the cause, helping you out. I've been playing all your videos on the local cable access channel here in Washington County.
Beautiful.
We've got all of Jason Burmis's films playing, and now I just added the Secret of Oz and Money Masters and Don't Tread on Me. They're playing there as well. And by the way, that Don't Tread on Me, awesome film, awesome.
Well, it's awesome because it's filled. It's awesome because it's filled with real solutions to take the states and counties and sheriffs back.
Yeah, and that's what I tell people. I'm like, this film, it isn't depressing, but it does address real issues. But it's all about solutions. And one of the biggest problems in America right now is we got to get people to wake up to, obviously, you know, the whole banking fraud, private central bank, how all that works. But I think this, and speaking of which, in that movie, The Secret of Oz, they have Byron Dale, and I highly suggest that you interview him. I've gotten to know him over the years personally. I can give you his contact info if you'd like.
I think I interviewed him like a decade ago, but sure, give us the info. He'd be a good guest to have on.
Yeah, well, I won't give his number on air, but
no, obviously we can get it if we don't already have it. I'm saying send it to us. JP, I appreciate your call. Speaking of those films that you just mentioned, The Secret of Oz deals with how the banking cartel's taken over not just the U.S., but Iceland, Greece, the rest of the planet, and financial ways to reverse what they've done, monetary solutions. Of course, this film, Obama Deception,